Okay guys, we've got a pretty good start of collecting parts to put back on the rear end of the car. I'm fortunate that I have these are the brake back plates that came off the car, and I'm fortunate that I have a complete set of backup backing plates, wheel cylinders, adjusters, etc. that are in, I think, better shape than what came off the car. So I think we're probably going to go with these. And these definitely are a much newer vintage, let's say. These came off a car that was probably on the road probably no more than 12 years ago. This one came off a car that was on the road about 40 years ago. I'm pretty sure that these wheel cylinders might be bad, and those adjusters might be seized, so we might be better off to go with these more recent vintage ones. What else have I got? Leaf springs, we've dug those out. They've seen better days as well. May be able to do a few repairs on them, and I got to reclamp and fix this bracket here. There's one broken off here. I actually do have a spare spring, so I may be able to scavenge some parts from the springs to clamp and repair these. So like I said, they've seen better days, but I think they might be usable. Temporarily, at least, we can get the car put back together. If we decide we want to put new springs on, we can do that. I'll make sure that I put some anti-seize on the locating pins for the springs, because they can be difficult to get off after they've been on the car for a period of time. I don't know if you recall, but the one I've got on the spare frame that I've moved outside, I can't get that off. I've whacked that with a big 10-pound sledgehammer and it's still stuck on there. So we may need to cut that off, but anyway, it'll come off one way or another. We got the lever shocks out, and they're pretty coated with nice grimy, greasy mess, so we'll have to get those cleaned up. And then a bunch of the other mounting points for the suspension are pretty rough shape. Bushings for the rear sway bar need to be replaced, of course. So we'll get all these things blasted up and looking better in the next little while. I've got to straighten out this. This is the basically the stop for the axle. There's a buffer that sort of fits underneath that, and that's the sort of the travel stop for the rear axle. So we'll have to get that straightened out. That was welded on the car. It was actually only supposed to be bolted on, so ended up having to cut that or grind that bolt off, and we welded another stud on this side, so hopefully that's going to work. Once we get that straightened back out, I probably have another set of those lying around somewhere. I just got to find them. They might even be in my scrap metal bin. I might just have to dig through that and see if I've got another set of those. Those have seen better days. U-bolts, I think I've got some new U-bolts somewhere. I've just got to locate those. So anyway, that's a pretty good overview. The drums are not going to be real fun to clean up, but there they are. Big piece of metal. So that's it for tonight, guys. I think we've got this sort of out here and stuff for us to work on in the next few days, that's for sure. So I think we'll go in for tonight, and we'll get back out here hopefully a little earlier tomorrow night, and we can start working on maybe those rear shocks. I think would probably be the best thing to start on, to get those cleaned up, and they should be a nice little hour or two project maybe to start on tomorrow night. Alright guys, we'll talk to you later. Good evening guys, it's Wednesday night. I think it's the 18th of February, and we're just getting out to the garage. We've done the dinner thing. Managed to get home a little bit earlier from work tonight, so we'll be able to get out here for a couple hours and probably start on the cleaning of these parts that I talked about last night. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to work on those lever shocks first. I did go out and buy some cleaning stuff, some degreaser, and I actually really like this Pour 15 cleaner degreaser. It's water-based. It seems to clean really well. It's you mix it 1 to 1, or you can mix it 1 to 10 if you want a weaker solution, but 1 to 1 really cuts through the grease. So it's expensive. It's about 15 bucks for this little jug, but like I said, you mix it with warm water and it does dilute it a little bit. So I'm going to use that to clean up those lever shocks, and hopefully we'll be able to get started on getting those painted. That's the project for tonight. We'll move all this other crap over to the right hand side of the table, and we'll make ourselves a little workspace to work on those for this evening's project. Alright guys, so I just thought I'd give you a quick before look at how greasy and grimy these things are. So there's the before, and we'll come back and we'll show you the after when they're cleaned up. I am going to pull off these little links here on the end, so I've just got to get my little separator, and we'll pop those off, and we're going to get new ones of these. So we've got to get those parts ordered amongst a bunch of other ones. So anyway, just a quick shot of those before. Hey guys, it's about 9 o'clock on Wednesday night, and we're done for the night. We've had a pretty good night of scrubbing, and I've just painted the arms and I've painted the tops of the shocks. And I'm going to leave the bodies the aluminum color. I'm going to try to buff that out a bit, but I managed to get them cleaned down pretty well. So even if they don't buff up any brighter, I'll be happy with the way they look. It'll be a night and day over the way they were when they came off the car. So anyway, we'll let these dry overnight, and we'll come out here and we'll have a look at them tomorrow night, and I'll do a reveal. Alright guys, we'll talk to you later. Hey guys, Tush coming at you. It's Friday, February the 20th. We got another cold one outside. Right now it's about -20. It's 11 o'clock in the morning. I've got the day off work today. Hey guys, Tush coming back at you. It's Friday, February the 20th, and just getting back out into the garage. We didn't get out here last night. We had a long day at work. So we took the night off last night, and we're back out here again today. We're checking on the paint. This is what we did on Wednesday night, I believe it was. We've just painted those lever shock arms, and we painted the caps. So what we're going to do is we're going to get some new star washers and reinstall the caps back onto the shocks after we drain and refill with fork oil. You can see this level of this fork oil or the level of the oil in this lever shock was a little bit lower. So it's either had a leak out of the top or out of the seal here on the arm. So I'm not sure. Again, these cars came off this car that was sitting for 40 years. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens when I refill and cap them up and get them into operation. I think I do have some spares I can swap out, but until we know exactly what's wrong with them, we'll run with these. I am going to drain those like I'd mentioned, and we'll fill them back up with fork oil. This is about a 20 weight oil. It's the Screaming Eagle Performance Harley Davidson fork oil. Probably go with that. It's a little thinner than the I have some Bel-Ray 30 weight fork oil over there that I use in my TR6, but I don't believe I'll need the 30 weight for the TR3, so we'll just go with the Screaming Eagle brand. So that's what the plan is. So we'll get to working on that, and then we will move on to cleaning up some other rusty parts. I did put an order in to the Roadster factory yesterday. My first order for this car of about $160 worth of stuff coming to me next week, hopefully, after they process the order today. Stuff that I need that I couldn't do without. I've been pretty lucky as far as finding, you know, replacement parts that I could use, or I actually had some parts in stock that I could use. So, but I've sort of got to a point now where I need to replace some of the parts like these. I need to replace. I could probably run with them, but they're 40-year-old. The rubber is extremely hard. So we've got new shock links coming. I think they're about 20 bucks a piece. So anyway, I got a few other parts coming that'll help me out. I do have those seals coming for the trunnions, the grease seals that I was missing. So we've ordered more of those. We'll just wait for those to come, and then we'll continue finishing off that front suspension. But in the meantime, we got plenty of work to do with the rear suspension components, getting them cleaned up. I've just got some degreaser sprayed on the back of these brake back plates, so we'll maybe get to cleaning those up after we do the lever shocks. I mean, there's no shortage of work to do, so we'll just continue on. Alright guys, so just going to give you a quick shot of those rear lever shocks now that they're all cleaned up and polished. I think they look pretty good. They look 100% better than they did. There's the new tops painted. So I've just given them a quick polish with some Meguiar's aluminum polish. This one came up a little bit better than this one. This one's got a bit more wear on it. But anyway, I think they look good. I think on the 60 I ended up painting these, but we'll leave them in the bare casting, aluminum casting in this case, just for fun. I'm sure they won't look like that for very, very long, but what the heck. Like I said, they look 100% better than when they came off the car. Alright guys, we'll move on to something else. And there they are back on the car. So I guess that's the first official thing back on the rear suspension of the car. So yeah, just put them back on the car to get them out of the way, get them off the table. Yeah, I think they look okay. Alright, onwards and upwards. I'm going to go outside in the 20 below zero weather, and we're going to go have a look at the spare frame back there. I'm going to try to rescue the rear spring off of there, which I've been unsuccessful in getting off in the past little while. So we're going to try a Pitman Arm Puller on it and see if that'll work to try to get the spring off the spring pin at the front. It's seized on there pretty good. I've hammered it, I've tried to lever it off, so we're going to try to pull it off. So maybe I'll try to give you a shot once I get this set up on the frame outside. Won't be long. I don't want to stay out there very long. Alright guys, here's the setup with the Pitman Arm Puller to try to get this silent block bushing off of this the pin down here that's rusted on pretty solid. So we'll give her a shot and see if we can get that to budge. Back inside the garage, and I have to say that worked tremendously well. So we got the old bushing out of there, we got it off the frame, so success. Anyway, we'll keep moving on. I was just coming back at you with a quick update. So I got lucky today. I managed to find a pair of springs. As you know, I had the one spring that was sitting on the frame outside that I managed to get off with that Pitman puller. I thought actually I had discarded the other spring in a fit of cleaning that I had one day. And then I started thinking about it, and I thought, I don't think I would have thrown that out. I'm pretty much of a pack rat, but I did that. I disassembled this parts car over 5 years ago, probably about 6 years ago. So I've sort of lost track of some parts and where I put them. Anyway, I started thinking about where I might have put it, and I thought that I might have remembered throwing it down beside the garden shed under some firewood. So I just happened to stick my head out the door, and I looked, and of course I could see the spring eye just sitting out underneath the firewood. The only problem was it was frozen to the ground. So I've just spent about the last half hour out there with a pry bar, getting all the old firewood off the top of it, and I've used this big long, I just put it away, but there's a big long 8-foot pry bar in there, and I've just been sort of prying it out from underneath all the lumber. So it was well worth it though. It's in much better shape than the old knackered springs that came off the 59. My mistake. They look like they needed to be re-arched as well. They're pretty flat on the bottom, and you can see that obviously there's a lot of bands missing, and they're pretty darn rusty. So I'm quite happy to have found these. These are in much better condition, and I think they're going to be perfect. So we'll clean these ones up. I'm glad I remembered where that was, because I just started cleaning these up, and that was going to be a heck of a process to do those rusty old springs. So these ones are in much better condition. I already started stripping the one on the bottom, and it's coming up not too bad. So nice metal under, looks like a bit of undercoating I've got to strip away. I've got to tighten that down a little bit, but other than that I'm going to be pretty happy with those. So that's a good afternoon. Alright guys, we'll talk to you in a bit. Hey guys, quick update. So we've got the rear springs sort of scrubbed down. It's pretty much as far as we're going to go. We did degrease them, and we've sanded them with some 36 grit on a roll-lock disc, just to knock all the rust and dust off them. So we'll probably give those a quick coat of paint tonight. I've got them sitting in front of the heater just trying to dry them out. I did degrease them, so there might be a little bit of moisture in between the leaves. So we're trying to get that dried out before we throw a coat of paint on them. So in the meantime, I've moved on to the rear, brake back plates. So I've just started cleaning them up with a bit of brake cleaner. So we're going to scrub those down. We'll remove all the components from the interior of these, and then we'll scuff them up, and we'll get these ready for paint as well. So we're progressing on the table of rusty bits. So hopefully maybe by the end of this weekend we'll have most of the rear suspension and rear axle components completed and in paint, with the exception probably of the rear axle. Alright guys, we'll come. Hey guys, Touch coming back at you. Just about 9:30 p.m. and we're just on the disassembly of the brake backing plate, and I thought I would just take a quick video on the locking plates for the wheel cylinder. There's 3 plates, and if you've never taken them off before, I guess they can be a little bit confusing how to get them on and off, because they have to go a certain direction for them to work properly, and they sort of lock together. So I thought I'd take a quick video of how to get these off at least, and then we'll do a reassembly video when we go put these back on when the back plates are repainted. So I'll turn you off for a second. We'll put this back down on the table, and we'll come back. Hopefully you'll be able to see this. Okay guys, I'm not sure how this is going to come out or not. It's going to be a little bit difficult to get this focused, but I'll do my best. Let me just turn the radio down for a sec and we'll come back. Alright, I'll see if I can keep you in focus. Alright, so the first thing you need to do is take off this, there's a small locking tab on the top, and usually that one's easy to get out. You can just sort of tap it out and it should move back. Just tap it out with a small screwdriver. And you can just see it sort of moving out now to the rear. Just take your time doing this if you intend on trying to reuse these. You can buy new ones of these, but if you're careful enough, you should be able to reuse the existing ones, and if they're not in too bad a shape. I've had some on other cars that have been just totally rusted out and not really usable. So, alright, so there's that top locking pin out, just a small one. There you go. I don't know if you can see that or not. Now the one that's a little bit more difficult is this one, which goes in the opposite direction. So normally what I try to do is just drive a small screwdriver in between them, and that will sort of separate. There's some locking tabs on the nose of these. So if you can get a screwdriver in under there, it'll sort of release the locking tabs. You can sort of see the tabs just at the top here. That's what you're trying to release. So we'll see if that's going to work for us. Another screwdriver, and we'll just try to tap that one back. Alright, you can see it moving now. Hopefully you can see it moving. Alright. So there's the second locking tab, which leaves the very last one on. Alright, so to get this one out, you need to flip it over, and you should be able to now release the lever. Alright. That just sits in two little pins that just sort of hold this little bracket in. So you should be able to just release the pin and pull it through. Then go back on the other side. You should be able to just slide that remaining pin out, or plate, or whatever you want to call it, just like that. And then release your wheel cylinder. There you go. One stripped brake back plate. Alright, that's it for tonight, guys. We'll upload this and we'll get back out here tomorrow.